All right, this is another video. You know, uh, one thing the reason why I make videos is because I just always want to show the patterns of what they've been doing to me and how obvious things that done to me have been consistently done to me, and how obvious they're so systematic. I would just I'm hearing this, perps try to like, because as they create do manipulation of memories, the same things they do but new of different things, it's the same system. So when I started making videos in 2020, which is about 3 years now, I go back into a random video I made early on, right? So this is my secondary channel for a reason, because I have a primary channel which I'm going to show the link there. You go into these videos, you'll see videos of me in 2020 literally depicting what's happening to me now with a different version of something else. They manipulate something else. And the reason why I'm doing that is that shows the obviousness of what they do. I'm talking about in 3 years what you guys were doing and how they were manipulating me these ways. And today, as they try to do something else in the same fashion, I'm like, can you imagine 3 years ago I was talking about what they do, and this is what you guys do? My point is, these people want to live in escapism of false reality. I see them for what they are: falsifier, frauds. Like, you see, like, some of the people, and it's just like, you just do these things. And now, you gotta understand, my brain at this point is even worse than 3 years ago. It's been more broken down, because with time what happened is you being erased. My memory are more and more and more disappearing. More. So much more. And so new memories are implanted, and it's harder to see the differences between the new memories and the real memories. And I've been saying that. That's why I make videos. And as I still can talk, I'll talk. And this will be a way to remember that throughout this whole process till my end, I did not subscribe to this. And these bottom feeders who wanted to escape in this fantasy of falsified memories and reality, I did not subscribe. Now, whatever horrible torture I'm going to go through is not going to stop that. And the sad part is, like, when they bring that up, like, oh, you're going to be doing that, they're going to do this to you and that, you realize this is the government, right? They have technology right now that is rewiring my brain, my body, everything is being destroyed. And when they say these things, oh, this guy's going to do this and do this and that, I'm like, it's kind of laughable. Because this is nothing in comparison to what's happening to me now. They can easily have somebody do something to me. This is the government with unlimited resources. You tell me this guy's going to do this, oh, wow. And they try to use that to say, that's because we proved it. No. It's because you're the government, and I'm a target individual. What's been proven is that these agencies are filled with pedophiles. And it's funny, when I make videos like 3 years ago, before knowing that fact, and I was like, I made a video called Projected Reality, or Projected, where they project these things towards you, but the reality is these people are actually the same, that they're the ones with this problem with pedophilia. And so their job is to break you down. I understand it's part of this script. But can you imagine being involved in this program where you're day in and day out is trying to see how can you change something, to turn things into something else, to make it look like something else? And the reality you're in is like the entities who contract you to do these things, who are training you to do this, are actually the entities filled with pedophiles. But they probably know that, even though they probably knew that in advance, because these tactics are just kind of too disturbing to not believe that at some point there's a lot of pedophiles in these agencies, because they're the one architecting this process, these scripts, these methods, these tactics. So I'm looking back at my old videos and I'm like, wow, I was talking about this 3 years ago. I was talking about this falsification of memories, try to create this false persona with this false memories, with false perception of memories, with creations of false, like, I'm talking about in 2020. And that will continue. because these people now look, okay, well, and they go into the disorienting stage where they say things to just kind of disorient me. I'll keep talking. Yes, I will continue to talk because I know you don't like the fact that I talk about something that I talked about 3 years ago, that you try to do this today and try to make me think, you see, we proved it. And 3 years ago, I was like, they do these things with the memories where they falsify things, they create false perceptions. How can I take you seriously when I see you? When 3 years ago, I was talking about what you guys do in the same fashion. Oh, we caught you. It's like 3 years ago. It's not even like something I just last week. 3 years ago, I was talking about the same thing. In better ways, actually, because I was still mentally more, stable, because my brain now is just frying up even more. And so it's harder for me to express myself. So when these people come in with the little suitcase rolling around, usually like, look at this obvious. Look at these frauds. Look, where are you going to manipulate my memories this time? I've been talking about it 3 years ago. And on top of that, now with this information that is even worse, knowing that these agencies are film pedophile, that it makes it even worse for you. To do your nasty things, like I said 3 years ago, of course people involved in these nasty things get theirs. You cannot dedicate your life doing these nasty things where you try to manipulate people to think in these peripheral ways while living this cowardly life. There's too much. Try to find ways to disorient and agitate somebody using whatever needs to be said to disorient you, to disorient somebody while you work for pedophiles. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. While you work for entities with a lot of pedophilia issues, and you try to project reality that you live in. Yesterday I made this video, the last video you see there. It's about how they were twisting stories and making memories so disturbing. Let me start from the beginning and tell you what happened yesterday. And today waking up, of course, now it's locked in with different things. I knew when I was going to wake up, things were going to be different. I said that yesterday. How? Because I've been saying that I know that night is when I'm sleeping, that's when they're really cooking the stuff they manipulate me to experience. Right? It becomes now really a part of my memory, but it's falsified. And so they're gonna try to use this thing they themselves created and try to and they're like, oh, they're gonna break. I'm a target individual. I'm against a entity of government that is unbelievably sophisticated, unlimited resources, and I know I'm just a human experimentation. That's why I'm here. I'm human experimentation, and this trash that are doing these things are just the trash participating in this human experimentation. And it's just nasty, right? You see with these childlike individuals, it's just kind of like, sad trash. It's sad. You see these people involved, and it's like, oh. And so, let me speak again with what it starts. What they did yesterday. And I think I made a video yesterday. If you didn't watch this, hear what happened yesterday. They start to bring up, and every time they're going to look at something else and try to manipulate. And this is funny because I used to be able to talk about this normally. Now they have the different version of imaginations. And so they made me think of when I used to date. I was like maybe 22 years old, something like that. I was dating somebody. We both went to the same college. Community college, and so we used to date. It's not like a date, like we were having like a moment for 2 weeks or so, almost a month. We're together, and I go to her place for the first time. I kind of meet her mother and whatever, and then I go into her bedroom. She's like, "Hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to use the bathroom." She goes in the bathroom. And I hear her just yelling and arguing, and then I hear her screaming out of her mother's, "Hey, Mom!" She said something about her sister. Let's call it her sister being Stacy, right? That's the name I used yesterday. I was like, she's like, Stacy still is doing the same thing, Mom. And you can hear the daughter say, "No!" Something like that. I don't know what's going on. I'm hearing just some back and forth. Right now, even me speaking about it, they're obviously implanting their stimulations in reality and fantasy. That's their job, right? And so then, and by the way, when they try to like disorient me while I'm telling the story and giving me stimulation, they use this tonality to sound more serious, right? So we know, right? They're so gimmicky, it's unbelievable. And so she comes back to the bedroom, and she just comes like, oh my gosh, I caught Stacy using her little sister. I just caught her using the shower head again, something using the shower thing again. It's like, this is like it's like she keep doing that, right? And I'm like, oh, that in my mind, I'm just looking at her, it's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, that's kind of mean, actually. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't embarrass your sister like that, because I could imagine if I was a kid and my older brother starts talking about it, I would feel super like uncomfortable, and not even uncomfortable, humiliated. I'll be super humiliated. So I'm looking at her, it's like, that's kind of mean what you're doing right now, right? But I'm not saying anything. I'm just looking at it, it's like, okay. It's like that's kind of like, you gonna humiliate your sister like that, like that can break some kids, right? And so that's that. She's like, oh yeah, and then she continues like, oh, me, like my everybody in our family like hot blooded, whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. And now right now what they're saying, like, oh, we caught you. They're so clown, like they're gimmicky and clowns, because they create this, they make you experience these feelings like, oh, we caught you. Well, in reality, like I said, they're projecting reality, because who's getting caught over there is these people in these entities. But anyways, going back to the story, so this is what happens, right? That's that. I was like, okay, what they're trying to do now is they're trying to make me imagine this very vivid imagination of what this little girl was doing, this like 12-year-old kid was doing, like extreme imagination of that. And because even though she said what, you have an idea what she's talking about, because she literally described what happened. So you have that information. So now they're just creating imaginations, very vivid imagination of a kid doing that. Disgusting. And that's what they do, right? And now what they were doing yesterday, but they're going to continue later, they're just kind of relaxing on it right now, is they will try to make me imagine, oh, did this ever come back in your head, thinking about, oh my gosh, when, this, whatever. And they would try to make me imagine, like, just me sitting there, imagining the sister doing this thing with the shower head, right? And then they're like, okay, that's a little too extreme. We don't, like, try to find ways to create me thinking about this moment of what her sister told me about Stacy, her little sister, and try to find ways to create me thinking about it. Mind you, my brain is whoop, so my memories, they can make me implant it. And so at one point, they make me really think I thought this way. It's falsified. And then they're like, okay, no, maybe not like that. What if you hear, like, you watch something about like somebody who was doing something in the shower like that, and you thought, oh, remember when quote unquote ex-girlfriend, I don't know if I should call that ex-girlfriend, said something about the little sister. Did they ever like, oh, remember? Like, try to find things like that to make me think of that. I was like, what? And now, and which is what they're trying to do, is slowly now make me feel like I was getting sexual stimulation of that. Like I was getting stimulated. Last night I was getting I was forced to get this sexual arousals. So it's nasty, because they want to train my brain to think, oh, that moment to you was sexually stimulating. When this ex-girlfriend of mine, I've really strong quotes on that, said something about the cutting her little sister. It's disturbing. And then they make me think, because I went on a date not too long ago with this perp, right? I know she was a perp, it's just obvious. And she said something about, like, yeah, we're talking about every random stuff. And she mentioned something about, kids, we discover each other very young, and she's like, especially girls. And like, okay, yeah. And now they're bringing up, she's talking about that. It's like, she's talking about this moment that they're going to manipulate me to experience. It's like, I know. She's a perp. That means that all along they were looking, and she's a perp. So her job is to try to break me down. They want me to look at her as somebody I can respect. Of course, I know she's a perp. And I know the reason why they can do this kind of manipulation today, and why it's not something they brought up so earlier, is because my brain is so fried up and erased that now they can make me imagine this moment in these different versions. And so when I woke up this morning, because yesterday they tried to bring her up, and I was like, to me, this person is dismissed. I would dismiss her because I knew all along she's a perp. I know she's a fraud. I know her job is to make me accept these false things. Everybody I'm gonna meet, I'm gonna try to do this. And so this morning I woke up and they were trying to make me see her as somebody I can see in a credible way. So she mentioned that, so that's because we caught you. No, she mentioned that because they wanted to manipulate these moments into these false memories. She's in a program where they manipulate people to think in these different fashions. I know she knows that. I don't see her as somebody that is here trying to find the truth. No. She's involved in the manipulations of my memories. The reason why she mentioned this is because this was going to be a memory that's going to be manipulated and falsified. I woke up, now all of a sudden, yesterday they tried to bring that up with her. I was like, yeah, she's a perp, that's what they brought. Like, I understand, this is what they were prepping to say these things. Everything is orchestrated ahead of time. And the reason why they say this now, they bring that up now, is because my brain is so erased, and so my memories are so falsified, that they can play with this BS where the sister, the girl I was dating, yelled out, embarrassed the little sister. You understand? The reason why they can do these false memories now is because my memory is so erased that now this moment where I've talked about it many times before, I could actually even talk to this trash, this perp, about it. Yeah, I remember when my ex-girlfriend called, embarrassed her little sister. It was so sad. You know what they're going to do now? So, okay, let's try to make this moment stimulating to him. And what they're trying to do now is that they want perps to be somebody that you respect, find credible. But I don't. And now even less. Now I'm like, oh, she's pure trash. If that's what they were orchestrating all along, I'll never want to talk this trash. This low-life bottom feeders. That's more disgusting than I ever thought. That's disturbing trash. So now I'm like, I'm so true. So I'm super. Now I'm like this bottom feeder shit. You understand? Because it shows that you're that disgusting. That all along you're orchestrating. That's why you were talking about this. Because they were going to try to create this new version of memory. It's so disturbing. I made videos 3 years ago about the manipulation of my memories. I know these perps are just perps. I know they are working in accordance with what's going to happen to me. They orchestrate this whole moment that, okay, they're going to try to change things in the different ways. Create false imaginations, false memories. And now they are here changing the memory with me imagining this little girl doing something, whatever, discovering herself, and force me to get now even stimulations. Adding stimulation, like make me feel like I was getting aroused by these things. It's nasty. Nasty. And they're like, oh, now you pay. Try to make you identify to this false BS. And they're like, you'll lose. Because my brain is so erasable. It's so manipulatable. That's why I make videos. Because I'm not aligned with what's going on in my brain. I know these people around me are working day in and day out to see what they can change into something else. This is a moment like that. It's like, okay, the sister told about the sister, and she made a scene about it. Actually, it was very embarrassing. And so now they're like, okay, let's make him think that he was aroused by it, but not yet. He's not there yet. They're slowly transitioning to that. Let's make him think that he imagined it in these ways. Because he has the information. It's easy for them to make you imagine anything. So imagine something that the sister, like, literally say she's doing this with a shower. And this is not the first time. So you obviously know what she's talking about. So now, they can create this imagination of it. It's disturbing. Like vivid imagination is disturbing. Because somebody said something in a descriptive way about what happened. And so you have this information, it's easy to imagine. And they create this imagination. That's the first step. Now what they're trying to do, step 2, make me feel like I was aroused by it. Create sexual stimulations. Because it's pedophilia. This kid is caught by her sister. And the sister tells me about it. And tells actually everybody in the house. Like, Mom! And she's like, oh my gosh, this is the second time. It's like, oh, and I'm like, this is embarrassing. So now they try to make me feel stimulation about this moment with this kid doing, discovering herself. So that'll make me, because what's happening to me right now, they make me imagine children in these most disturbing ways. And so this is a moment they can be like, oh, but that's proof. Lisa, you remember that? Yes, her sister literally told me what happened. That's why it's in my head. But these people are trying to break you down. And they do this perfect type of torture. And now are looking at like, what can we do to be like, oh, you see, that's proof. He thought about this kid. No. Her sister told me about her. And so that always be in my head. Like, I remember when my ex-girlfriend embarrassed a kid there. And they're like, so some of the argument becomes like, oh, but so when, like, for example, you watch something and they'll talk about the shower heads or whatever, and would you ever be like, oh, remember when the sister got caught? Like, and they make me imagine that's true. Because it could be like at one point I'll be like, oh, when they caught Stacy, that was embarrassing. And that's that. Now they're like, oh, now you're thinking about like Stacy, the little girl. Oh, you're thinking about her, you got this wrong. And like, oh, we caught you. They live in a reality, a realm of falsification that is only a matter of time this thing comes back to them. And I'm not going to let them escape, because even if I didn't make a video, it would still happen. But to me, I make it clear. It's my duty to not only inform target individuals, they're going to do these false memories. They're going to create new version of reality. And it's disgusting, and everybody around you are going to be involved in that. It's orchestrated. So when I'm going on a date with an obvious perp, and they're like, okay, this is what's going to be done soon, so let's start mentioning about it. And now seeing her being involved in that in these nasty ways, I'm so turned off by her. It's so disgusting. Because at one point I was like, oh, okay, she's okay, she's not as bad as some. Oh, now I'm like, you're so disturbing, disgusting. No, thank you. Don't even. Let's not even continue this thing. It's so disturbing. You guys were orchestrating to create this version now. You nasty low life. So disgusting. But that's how I'm going to experience things. And I know the people I meet are involved in it. To create this version. I remember 3 months ago when they were trying to bring... Because this sister, they tried to do different versions. I remember when they were embarrassing her. When my ex-girlfriend, strong quotes, was embarrassed her. And I felt bad for her. For this little sister. Because the sister just out loud say, hey, well, again? It's like, that's not right. You shouldn't do that to your little sister. You can break her down. And now they're like, oh, you see, but, that have you ever, like, thought of that moment again when something... And I try to give me scenarios to make me think, oh, did they ever come back to you? And they give me imagination. I'm in the shower. Oh, the little sister... falsified. But my memories are for them to play. But it's like, okay, now that's a little too much. And they try to gauge it. Okay, what if you hear about like somebody in the shower head and whatever? Would you like remember how like Stacy was embarrassed? She understand. And now the next step is stimulations. Oh, now you adding, you were aroused by it too. There's nothing I can do. The reason why they do this is because today what's happening is they are arousing me toward children. They are making me imagine children in disturbing ways, sexual ways. And it's disgusting. I can see a kid around just doing like a little pose like that to make me imagine sexual imagination of this child. Little kids too. I see a little girl just like sitting down, imagining the most disgusting things. Disgusting things. And not like, but you remember when Stacy was embarrassed and their sister, the older sister told you about what she saw in the bathroom? It's like, yeah, because this person told me. Tell my target individuals, this is not going to be the last stuff. They're going to manipulate around and change my memories. I will never experience things the same ways. My memories are falsified. There's people around you. There's people that you're going to meet. There's a whole ecosystem of people who are going to orchestrate falsified memories. And you got to understand this never going to happen. You'll never be yourself. Once you do this, they start talking about you're going to be rotting in your cell. You're going to be like, listen, I'd rather die in a fucking cell. I'd rather just die in the streets. Sorry for the language. I don't want to curse, but that's the best way to express myself right now. I'd rather die in the streets than having to do what they do, where they're finding ways to change memories. Because today what's happening is they force you to experience this disturbing reaction toward children. And embarrassingly enough, not only they do this perfect for torture to others, not only they falsify memories, not only they torture children, but the entities that have contracted this shit are filled with pedophiles. And so these tactics makes it even more disturbing to know that these people who are contracted by entities filled with pedophiles are here not only manipulate your memories to create these false patterns, to try to find ways to make me believe that what's happening to me is just organically happened. And by doing falsifying of memories and create this version that I'm just talking, for example, this is supposed to be like, oh, we caught you, that's proof. Of course I know that's just my manipulation. And then it's like, oh, now we are at war. You're not at war. If anything, maybe I'm a human subject for war weaponry, for military grade weaponry. I'm a subject. For example, if you're at war, it's basically testing these war weapons on people before you go at war. I'm a test subject. I'm a human experimentation. So you're far from war. These people are trash. And low-life pedophiles that are here trying to create memories of that nature, create things to force you to think like, see how you are. Now they're like creating even arousement. You know how stimulating they were stimulating the crap out of me yesterday. But I was like, I don't want to do anything because I know what this is going to make it worse. To all my target individuals, stay strong. These people are pedophiles and lowlifes. And this shows how nasty they are. And they like to try to minimize how pedophile they are by calling themselves mean. Stay strong and know that whatever they're doing to you is coming to them. Whatever torture you're going to go through is coming to them. They know this. They're just going to try to distract themselves until that time comes. Some before the others, but it will come back to them. So stay strong.